All right, everyone, welcome. Today, we're doing something really exciting. We're going to build the absolute foundation for your entire cybersecurity journey. Yep, we are creating your very first hacking lab by installing the incredibly powerful Kali Linux. So if you've ever thought about getting into ethical hacking, or you're just curious about cybersecurity, this is literally step one. You can think of this as setting up your own digital command center, a personal training ground where you can learn and experiment safely. So, what is this Kali Linux thing anyway? Well, imagine a special version of the Linux operating system, but one that's been custom built from the ground up, specifically for security work. It comes packed, and I mean packed, with hundreds of tools already installed. It's basically the ultimate hacker's toolkit right out of the box. Okay, so here's our mission plan for today. We'll start by properly meeting your new toolkit. Then, we'll run a quick pre-flight check on your system to make sure everything's ready. After that, we build the virtual lab, tackle a super common network hiccup, and then, the fun part, mastering your very first commands. Let's get to it. First things first, our pre-flight check. Now, before we even think about installing anything, we've got to prep our main computer. Trust me, these next couple of steps are absolutely crucial to make sure our virtual lab runs smoothly without any headaches. We've got two critical checks to perform. Number one, you've got to enable virtualization in your computer's BIOS. What's that? It's basically a switch in your computer's core software that lets it run another virtual computer inside of it. It's a must-have. Number two, if you're on Windows, you have to turn off a feature called Hyper-V. It's Microsoft's own virtualization tool, and it really doesn't play nice with the software we're about to use, VirtualBox. Disabling Hyper-V sounds complicated, but it's actually super simple. You just need to open up your command prompt as an administrator, that's key, and type in this exact command you see right here. Hit Enter, give your computer a quick restart, and boom, you're all set. And here is your first pro tip, and it's a big one that'll make this whole process a breeze. Download everything you need before you start. You're going to need three things: VirtualBox itself, which is our lab environment, the VirtualBox extension pack, which adds some cool features, and of course the Kali Linux installer, which comes as a file called an ISO. All right, system is prepped, files are downloaded. It is time for the main event. We are now going to build our virtual lab right inside VirtualBox. This is where your new Kali Linux system is going to live and breathe. Now, as you're creating this new virtual machine, you'll want to pay close attention to these settings. Make sure you set the type to Linux and the version to Debian 64-bit because Kali is actually built on Debian. Now, for performance, I really recommend you give it at least 4 gigs of RAM and 2 CPU cores if you can, and 25 gigs of hard drive space is a perfect place to start. Okay, once you fire up the installer, you're going to hit a step called disk partitioning. Now, don't let that name intimidate you. All it's doing is setting up the hard drive space. The easiest, best option here is to just choose Guided, Use Entire Disk. This lets the installer do all the heavy lifting for you. Right after that, on the next screen, it'll ask about the partitioning scheme. Again, we're keeping it simple. Just go ahead and choose all files in one partition. It's the recommended choice for a reason. It's clean, simple, and it just works. Next up, you get to choose the look and feel of your system. This is the desktop environment. You'll see a few options, but for our virtual lab, I strongly recommend XFCE. It's super lightweight, which means it's going to run way faster and smoother inside a virtual machine. We're almost at the finish line. The final major step is installing something called the Grub bootloader. This is just a tiny program that basically tells your virtual machine how to start up Kali Linux. When it asks, just make sure you say yes and install it to your main virtual hard disk. And here is another pro tip that is an absolute lifesaver. Once Kali is all installed, shut it down and go back into its settings. Find Shared Clipboard and drag and drop and set both of them to bi-directional. This lets you copy-paste text and drag files seamlessly between your main computer and your Kali lab. You'll thank me later.
You know, in the world of tech, things don't always go perfectly on the first try. So let's talk about one of the most common little snags you might hit during the installation, a network error.
If you see this message pop up on your screen, Network Auto Configuration Failed, do not panic. I promise you, this happens all the time when setting up virtual machines, and the fix is unbelievably simple.
So here's the fix, step by step. 1. Power the Kali machine off completely. 2. Open up its settings and find the Network tab. 3. Double-check that Enable Network Adapter is ticked. And 4, this is the magic step, change attached to NAT. This just lets your virtual machine borrow your main computer's internet connection. Save it, restart, and that error should be history.
Okay, Kali Linux is installed, it's running smoothly. Now it's time to get our hands dirty. We're going to open up that terminal and learn a few of the most fundamental commands. This is where the real magic happens.
We're going to start with just these 4 basic but incredibly powerful commands. Who am I tells you who you are, pwd tells you where you are, ls shows you what's around you, and cd is how you move around. Simple, right?
Let's actually try it. Go ahead and open the terminal. First, type who am I and hit enter. It should spit back Kali, which is your username. Next, type pwd. That stands for Print Working Directory. This will show you exactly where you are in the file system, which right now should be your home folder. So, what's actually in this home folder? Let's find out. Type ls-l and hit enter. This will give you a detailed list of everything in your current directory. You'll see all those familiar folders like desktop, documents, downloads, and so on.
All right, let's do a quick little challenge to test out your new skills. First, use cd/usr to jump to a totally different system directory. Then, use this awesome shortcut, cd tilde, that's a little tilde symbol. That will instantly take you right back home. And finally, use pwd one more time just to prove that you're back where you started. See, you're a natural.
And for our final pro tip, this one's all about comfort. To make your lab feel less like a window and more like a real computer, just press the right control key and the F key together. This toggles full screen mode on and off. It makes a huge difference. And just like that, you did it. Your own personal cybersecurity lab, your command center, is fully built and operational. You've officially taken the first and honestly the most important step. So the only question left is, what's your next mission going to be?